Hello, folks, and welcome to the Vertigo Tea Party and Tea Time. Today, we'll be talking about YouTube Red. Is it good or bad for content creators? A little bit spoiler here. The answer to that question is we don't know yet. There's not enough information as per what YouTube normally does. When they release this information to the public, they didn't come to the content creators and let them know how this is going to work with the existing ad revenue model. So we're basically left guessing as to how it's going to work. Again, pretty typical YouTube. They kind of forget about the people who make the content on YouTube, oddly enough. But let's not dwell on that. Let's move on to YouTube Red, not to be confused in your Google searches for RedTube or anything like that. Don't search for that. Be careful, especially if it works. So let's talk about the facts of YouTube Red as we know them right now. It's a service offered obviously on YouTube for $9.99 a month. It's going to be available October 28th, 2015 in the US. It's going to spread worldwide later. They didn't give any kind of time frames that I saw. As far as features that you get for subscribing to YouTube Red, just as a YouTube viewer, this is not in relation to the content creation. So as a viewer, if you have YouTube Red, you'll get no ads on videos, on YouTube videos at all. Obviously, if somebody builds an ad into the video itself, there's no way around that. But you know what I mean with like the pre-roll, post-roll ads, things like that. None of that. It will also allow you to download videos from YouTube, which I found to be quite an interesting feature. I'm not quite sure how useful that'll be to a lot of folks. I could see it being useful, but it's definitely interesting nonetheless. Also on the YouTube app on Android and iOS, and presumably Windows Mobile, I guess, for the 27 people out there who use that, you can now actually have a video playing and switch to another app with that app running in the background, which actually will be nice. I really hate when I switch to another app and YouTube stops. Also, if you subscribe to YouTube Red, you automatically subscribe to Google's music service and vice versa. I don't really use their Google Music service. I don't think a lot of people do. Maybe this will be kind of an incentive to start using it. My understanding is it's kind of like Spotify in that it lets you create music stations and allows you to stream music, as much music as you want, let you skip as many ads as you want, things like that. Actually, I'm not even sure if Google Music has ads. It might not. You might want to check on that individually, but this isn't really about the Google Music side. Also, another thing that it will give you access to is subscriber-only videos. And they've dabbled with this before, but in a nutshell, what this will be is special videos that have been created by by YouTube content creators that you can only watch if you subscribe to YouTube Red. There's nothing to really point to right now as far as that goes, because there aren't any. But there are already talks. I think PewDiePie is going to do one, and I'm sure they're definitely going to be hitting up other content creators. And from what I have read, there's a interview. This is the only interview I found with any like really substance about this new thing that they're doing, and I will have a link to it in the description below the video. But they talk about how they kind of want to, they're kind of going after that Netflix Hulu thing where you subscribe and get all the content you want, but they don't want to go about it where, oh, we want to try to get Seinfeld, we want to try to get Friends and Cheers and the Avengers on YouTube, and it's just yet another alternate service to Amazon Video and Netflix and Hulu and all that. They want to focus, I mean, that might be there, but they want to focus on content created by YouTube folks. I don't know how well that's going to work out. There's been things like Fred the movie, and I saw that there was like a Smosh movie, which, man, rather gouge my eyeballs out than watch those. But I don't think, regardless of my personal opinion, I don't think they did all that well. I didn't keep up with it, so maybe they did. I don't know. But that's more what they're wanting to get to. And, one thing I use YouTube for on occasion is music videos. So it'll be nice not to get ads on those videos. So in The Verge, I want to quote a few things. The Verge article that I was talking about earlier. I want to quote a few things that I believe are relevant. And it should be popping up on the screen here. If a subscription model works, and that's a big if, YouTube will begin earning far more per user than it could through advertising. I would have to watch I would have to watch thousands of videos each month to reach a payout of $9.99 in ads. I did a good bit of digging into this before this video to try to really find out how much money any particular video could make on an average click. So for example, let's say I, as a user, I don't have ad block and I watch a boogie video. How much money does that make gross? In other words, how much does that make for YouTube, that YouTube then splits off? It gives 55% to boogie and then 45% to themselves. So I was trying to figure out exactly how much. And again, this is going, and it's obviously, it's, if you're not familiar with the ad, like the way the ads work and how the cost works, I won't go into it in detail, but in a long story short, it's more of a bidding process. So I could watch a boogie video now, and then you could watch it at the same time, and it might be worth different amounts of money based on when we both watched it. And of course, keep in mind, any money that we generated has to be split between YouTube and whoever owns that channel. 55% again goes to the creators, and 45% goes to YouTube. But from what I could gather roughly, you're looking at anywhere from like 0.7 cents per view to maybe 2.5 cents per view. So again, in other words, if I watch a Northern Lion video on a good day, that one view might have generated 2.5 cents total gross to YouTube, which again is then split between Northern Lion and YouTube. But on another day, maybe you watch that video and it only generated 0.7 cents, which I'm interested how that's split up. I'm sure it's just put into a pool and then that pool is split up. It'd make a lot more sense. So what that person is saying is a little off. I don't think, again, from what I've gathered, it wouldn't take thousands of videos to reach $10. And we're just going to call it $10 just for ease of discussion here. But it would take, from my estimations, anywhere from roughly, like, on the good side, around 900-ish video views per month. And on the lower end, 12 to 1,300-ish video views in a month. I don't doubt there's people out there that watch 1,000 videos in a month, but I think it's pretty safe to say that those people are in the vast minority. So I think that I've heard a lot of complaints like, oh, they generate more money than $10 in a month. An individual viewer is not worth very much. Speaking specifically financially only, obviously. Any one view is worth very little, as we talked about. And of course, again, if anyone has information counter to this, I'd love to hear it. A lot of this CPM stuff can be very confusing, and I got a headache trying to look into some of this stuff in detail. It was interesting trying to look at it from the view of how much any particular user might be worth as opposed to other metrics. But anyway, I won't dawdle on that. It's uninteresting, I assure you. Another quote, with the advertising model, YouTube takes 45% of the revenue and the remaining 55% goes to creators. Here he's talking about the existing model now we have with the AdSense. With YouTube Red, creators will be paid a percentage of the total subscription revenue minus YouTube's cut based on the watch time of their videos each month. The more devoted their fan base, the bigger the check could become. YouTube won't share the exact percentage it plans to take from Red, but says creators will still get the majority of subscription revenue. So this is by far, at least from the creator's standpoint, the most important sentences in this entire interview. So first of all, we know that the $10 will be split between YouTube's going to take their cut. And I find this a little shady that YouTube they refuse to say what percentage they're taking of the cut, but then said that creators will get the majority. Like if you're saying they're getting a majority and people are already used to 55%, why not just say what it is. Maybe they're kind of skirting it and giving the creators 51%, and then they're taking 49%, and they didn't want to piss people off. Because why else wouldn't they say, if existing ad expectations was that the creators get 30% of an ad revenue and then YouTube gets 70%, then I'm sure they'd be shouting from the mountaintops like, hey, you get 55% now as opposed to 30. So I feel like they're being ambiguous here when they really shouldn't be. Again, unless they're being really sneaky and only technically giving the creator more with, like, again, 51% cut versus their 49. But for simplicity's sake, we'll call it 55% for the time being. But again, keep in mind that is entirely speculation, even though probably not too far off, again, giving their unwillingness to actually disclose that, which I agree is total nonsense. The other thing that's important to note is that it's no longer about clicks. It's no longer about individual video views, but watch time. So for example, if, let's say, somebody watches 100 hours of YouTube in a month, 100 hours of YouTube in a month. I think I calculated that to be like 5 hours, or no, 3 hours a day, roughly a little more than 3 hours a day on average. So if they watch my channel for 1 hour of that 100 or of that entire month, then I would make about 5.5 cents. And the way that, and again, sometimes I butcher my periods and butcher my math. So again, if somebody sees a reason why this is incorrect, please correct me in the comments below. But the way I got that figure was 5.5%, or I'm sorry, $5.5 of the $10 is going to go into the content creator pool, right? Because we said 55% is what we estimate the percentage for content creators will be out of that $10, right? So $5.50 gets put into the overall content creator pool from that user. So 1/100th of that, which is what they watched, right? Because they watched my channel for 1 hour out of 100, that comes up to, again, unless my math is wrong, 5.5 cents. And you might be thinking, oh, well, that sounds ridiculous. Like only 5.5 cents? That's insane. You're getting ripped off. It's possible. It depends on a few factors. One, if you look at how long are the videos that I make. I used to make about 20-minute long videos. So an hour would be, of course, 3 videos. If those videos would typically earn me, let's say, 2 cents a piece, then yes, I'm actually losing about half a cent from that. Not bad, but it's still money I'm losing for no real positive gain. If I tended to make 30-minute videos, so they only would have watched 2 videos, and let's say same scenario, I only would have gotten 2 cents per view. Now I actually would have made more money, right? Because I would have made 4 cents versus the 5.5 cent with the YouTube Red. And obviously even more if I just had one 1 hour long video. So things like that can come into play. There's a lot of factors. So keep in mind, even though I'm trying to give examples so we can try to get a handle on this based on the incredibly limited information we have, keep in mind these numbers are just kind of to play with, to give us a very rough idea of what we're looking at and to try to curb some of the ridiculous panic on Twitter that I've seen, that I know people immediately go into panic mode anytime there's any change. And I can understand why for people who do this for a living, but for Christ's sakes, calm down. Let's look at another example. So if somebody watched 50 hours of YouTube in a month, but then still only watches my channel for an hour, now I'm going to make 11 cents. Because again, same $5.50 pool, but this time I will get, oh God, I will make 50th of that. Oh God, I should have wrote this down. Anyway, percentage wise, I make 11 cents because the amount of time they watch YouTube is halved. 50 hours instead of 100 hours. And I feel like a complete idiot because now my brain is shut down and I can't remember what percentage an hour is of 50. 1/50th? There you go. Yeah, genius. Good job. So that would be a lot, 11 cents. So I'm actually rewarded. It's kind of interesting. I'm rewarded if the person watches less YouTube overall, but watches me the same amount, or B, just watches more of my content, which the second scenario obviously makes a hell of a lot more sense, and I think is a lot more what they're going for, right? You want to have more content that's keeping them on YouTube, because that's the big thing with YouTube, right? Is retention. They don't want you leaving the YouTube page ever. They want you, you watching consistent videos, either from the same creator or similar videos made by other creators. They don't care. They just want you staying on YouTube for as long as possible. So it would make sense that I'm going to make more the more of my videos you watch. Now, one interesting thing here for me, and this isn't going to affect a lot of other people, I do long form Let's Play style videos. And here recently, I've increased the length of my video. It used to be 20 minutes. Now I do anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour-long video. Now, because the payout you currently get for a video, it doesn't matter how long the video is. As far as I'm aware, the length of the video has absolutely no factor in it. So if a video is 5 minutes long or whether it's an hour long, if you're doing just one pre-roll ad, you get the exact same amount of money. So by cutting my content in a third, I'm cutting my income to a third of what I was making. So this would actually help someone like me who is like, oh, now I don't have to worry about artificially cutting up videos that I normally wouldn't, because I'm losing like 66% of the money that I was making before to make videos more to what my viewer base wants to watch, right? I can focus more on what they want, because I was requested by pretty much everyone in a poll on my videos what they wanted, longer or shorter videos. So now I can give them the longer videos without feeling like, oh, geez, I'm kind of getting punished for doing what they want. But, I want to make them happy, so I'm just going to do it. This gets around that by saying, hey, you're going to make the same amount of money if they watch all the videos, which is cool. And I realize that doesn't affect a lot of folks, because they probably, no matter what, they're going to stick around the 15-minute mark. But it is a good positive to consider. One last quick example I wanted to give was if somebody watches 50 hours of YouTube but watches my channel for 5 hours, I would make 55 cents. So again, keeping them on my channel obviously is going to pay off more. And just again, from initial just back of the napkin math type figuring, it seems like if you get people to watch your channels more or your content more, the rewards go higher up in compared to what you would have made under the old model. I just butchered that, I feel like. But long story short, what I'm saying is, if you have a lot of people on Red, or a decent amount of people on YouTube Red, who watch your content a significant amount more than they watch anything else, or just a significant amount, period, you definitely have the possibility of making more than you are making with the ad revenue, because you're always going to be limited. No matter what, you're limited to a specific, roughly specific amount, when people watch your videos based on, whatever the ad thing is doing. However, with YouTube Red, if they're watching you more, you get a bigger percentage of that $5.50 pool, or whatever it's going to turn out to be based on whatever percentage that they're going to be giving the actual creators. So again, that's something to keep in mind. One thing I think that could be a little scary for some folks is those who put out less content, like maybe 2 to 3 videos a week that tend to be shorter, 10 to 15 minutes. It seems like they could be hurt in this, possibly, because the percentage of overall watch time that they're going to have is going to be really small, probably. So going back to what I was saying before about the one, like if somebody watched even 50 hours of content, if you're only putting out 20 minutes of video a week, then you're going to be looking at a pretty low return. And possibly lower than what you would have gotten, maybe, per view. Again, a lot of that was hard to nail down insofar as, again, how much you make from an average view after YouTube has taken their part. So I think it's going to be pretty close. I think generally most people on worst case scenario are going to be making the same based on the numbers that I kind of fiddled with. But with some extreme cases, again, people who don't put out much content, if somebody say like puts out again, maybe an hour of content a month, but somebody with YouTube Red watches like a ton of YouTube, 100 hours in a month, then I feel like that person's is going to get a very, very small amount, even possibly less than they would have made with just typical ad views. So, that's, I guess right now is just kind of a wait and see thing. Don't panic. Everybody always wants to panic immediately. And again, I understand why, but just calm the hell down. Like, relax. Like, YouTube has done all kinds of dumb shit in the past. I know. I remember the great copyright scare like 2 years ago, was it, at the end of the year, where, the whole managed channel thing started and everybody freaked out because they thought, if you didn't get managed, you weren't going to be able to make money with video game videos on YouTube. And, that all worked out. And, I'm always leery of YouTube doing something amazingly stupid, especially because they're so bad at communicating with their content creators. But, relax, try to look at this as, a possibly positive thing. People have been wanting some kind of option for a subscription service. The other side of this is, why would I do YouTube Red when I can just get ad block? Because let's be honest, the main reason you're probably going to want YouTube Red is to block ads. Well, again, a lot of people are like, well, just block ads. Well, first of all, no shit. But here's the other thing, and this is a little theory of mine. And I felt like they've been wanting to do this for a long time. I feel like this is going to open the door for them. I think that in the coming months, we may see YouTube pull a Hulu and start blocking you from being able to view videos if you use an ad blocker. If you're not familiar, if you try to go watch videos on Hulu and you're using an ad blocker, you just can't. Like, it just doesn't let you do it. So I could see them doing something like that on YouTube. And I think the reason they haven't done it yet is because it'd be too easy. Basically, there's no way around it, right? You have to deal with ads. And quite frankly, some video content creators, in my opinion, abuse the ads. They'll have like a 10 or 15 minute video. They'll have a pre-roll ad, a mid-roll ad, and a post-roll ad. So if you took ad blockers away, that's going to really piss people off. And I think with YouTube Red, YouTube can go, well, if you got YouTube Red, you wouldn't have to worry about that. And you're supporting the content creators because you don't have to see an ad and they get paid on your views. So, and they've pretty much, from that, if you read the article, they've pretty much thrown away the idea of subscribing to specific channels. They don't like that. Like with Twitch, you could subscribe to specific, like, say, I really like this one channel. I really like Man vs. Game. So I'm going to subscribe to Man vs. Game because he's pretty much, I watch him 80% of the time and I want to support him, but I don't want to see ads. So I pay him, I pay $5 a month and he gets half and Twitch gets half. So YouTube, again, from that interview, they said they basically thrown that idea completely away. They don't like it. So don't expect to see subscribing to specific channels anytime soon. I don't know. Like I say, it'd be interesting to see how this goes. I think we're going to start seeing this more and more. The ad revenue thing is kind to fall apart just across the web in general. And there's people who are much more knowledgeable about it than me, writing some pretty fascinating, interesting articles about how all that's going down and whatnot. So I won't bore you with my uneducated theories on how that's going to go down. But I think we're going to start seeing more of these subscription models to get around ads and things of that nature. And the other thing too to keep in mind, like people are like panicking is from the viewer side. Like, oh my God, to view YouTube, I'm going to have to pay $10. And no, you're not going, like he said, even in our interview, he said 99.9% of YouTube content will be available to you if you don't pay a dime. You just get ads, assuming you're not using an ad blocker. So don't freak out as far as that go. I don't see many creators locking content behind a paywall, at least not a significant amount. I think a lot of them would face serious backlash if they did that, because people have gotten so used to the idea of just watching this content for free. I don't see people, like these big YouTubers doing that. Obviously small aren't going to do that. There's no way we could get away with it. Small to medium channels, you can forget it. Unless it's, something very specific. I'm mostly talking in a video game realm here, but I don't see anybody actually doing that and getting away with it. That's a great way to drive people away. And if you're a larger one, you might be able to get away with it on some like side content here and there, but I don't see somebody like, Jacksepticeye or Markiplier or somebody like that. I don't see channels like that honestly could probably get away with it. I don't see them doing it just because they don't want to generate that ill will. I don't doubt some will try it. Maybe some of the more, shall we say, some of the less scrupulous ones, or more unscrupulous, depending on how you want to say it, might try it. But I don't see that going to a lot of places. And of course, you might point out, well, PewDiePie is doing it. My understanding is that's like a special collaboration type thing. He's working with, in fact, I think I read he was working with one of the writers for the Walking Dead show. So, I mean, this is obviously a bigger production, right? This isn't just webcam of him playing a scary video game. At least I hope not, if he's going to be charging for it. I think there's more to it, right? So it's outside of the realm of what they normally do. So as a viewer, I wouldn't worry too much about your favorite content creators. All of a sudden you go to their website to watch the happy wheels of the day, if people are still even doing that, and you have to pay $10 for this to access it. So anyway, especially to my fellow content creators, I absolutely understand your frustration that YouTube just doesn't see fit to actually tell us what they're doing insofar as stuff like this goes. But I mean, please stop panicking every single time something like this happens. Like, stop, take a deep breath and look at the information and just relax. I saw so many people deciding like this was going to be the end and you better switch to Patreon, or they're pushing you to Patreon or Twitch because there's no way you'll be able to make money. Like, this was like, not even 2 hours after it's been announced with minimal information. So chill the hell out, folks. Let's see how it goes. And we'll communicate with YouTube, right? Because they're good at back and forth with, I guess not so much. But anyway, so now I'm rambling, so I'm going to go ahead and tie it up here. Again, if there was any kind of additional information or wrong math I did, in particular, finding, the average, what an average video is worth, or even the CPM of your average video. The last thing I could find that said was from 2014 and said CPM right now is like $7.32. That was like a year ago. But this has been going down over time. So that would mean it's worth less, like a video view is worth less than 1 penny per view. So I think this could potentially be good for content creators if handled right. We'll have to see in the coming days. Hopefully they'll give us a little bit more. Anyway, that's enough for me. Make sure to, again, leave comments, criticisms, corrections, etc. in the comments below. I will also have a link to the YouTube blog post and to the Verge interview in the description below the video. And I will see you guys next time.